There's nothing worse than trying to make money and being anxious about it. And there's nothing worse than being broke and anxious, because girl, we don't have time for that. What's going on, y'all? My name is Vannesia Darby, and I'm a marketing consultant, and I'm also a full-time digital marketing manager in my 9-to-5 role. This is the career series, so if you haven't checked out the other videos in the playlist, I'm gonna say this every video, y'all, so get used to it. Make sure that you check them out and that you get into all of them, because we're really talking about that murky water between entrepreneur and your career, entrepreneur and your job rather, and if you need to flip-flop or go between the two. So I got this question in from a good friend of mine, and they asked me, how can I balance the transition from job into entrepreneur? That's such a good question. I think when I quit my job, I was just kind of like, all right, I'll figure it out, which that ain't everybody's story, and by the grace of God I was able to figure it out. But my risk was really calculated. At the time, I was in grad school, I had a roommate, I was accepted to a graduate assistant program, so my expenses were super low. So I remember kind of doing a cost benefit analysis in my head of what's it worth versus what I'm sacrificing. And for me, I was never gonna have that low of expenses ever again. When you have a roommate, everything is cut in half, or if you have a partner, everything is cut in half. And so I said, if I'm gonna do it, now is the time. And that kind of leads me into step number one: know yourself. All right, know yourself. If you know you need somebody that is on you to get your work done, entrepreneurship ain't for you. You may be able to be like a director, a VP, SVP, you know, you may be someone that could be top dog material at your job, but you may not need to have complete autonomy of your schedule. And you gotta know yourself, know your workout schedule, what food you like, because one thing about entrepreneurship is that it kind of warps time a bit. And so you have 24 hours in a day, and no one's telling you to do anything. No one's telling you you have to work 9 to 5. No one's telling you that you have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. You're literally creating the life that you want to live. And so if you know that you don't do well with that type of freedom, maybe you need to be in a different network, or maybe you need to switch careers, but entrepreneurship may not be for you. And if you're like, no, Vannesia, I'm about it, it's for me, then that's great. You know that about yourself. Make sure you have your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self together, and that you have peace about it. There's nothing worse than trying to make money and being anxious about it. And there's nothing worse than being broke and anxious, because girl, we don't have time for that. So make sure that you know yourself and you're in a good space before you even hop into that transition. Now, there's two ways you could do it, and if depending on which road you go down is kind of dependent on what tip you want. The very first thing you could do is that you can quit cold turkey without having anything lined up. I wouldn't recommend that, okay? I wouldn't recommend that. I quit my job just kind of knowing I was gonna start a business, but I didn't have it lined up yet. And for me, it's because I needed that career break, but I had built up a network enough to know that I would get work. Well, I believed I would get work. And so I was already getting hit up on the side, and people were asking me to do little things like press releases or flyers. And so I was like, okay, if I actually put a message out there to people that I'm available for business, they may, you know, actually throw me business. So I quit cold turkey. But again, I was in grad school. Like, let's put this disclaimer out here. So I had other stuff going on to balance out my schedule and to balance out my workload. And so the other thing that you can do is to slowly transition. So you can start letting your network or your close friends know, hey, I'm trying out this thing, or I'm trying to open this business, or I'm trying this different thing. You know, let me know if you need any help in this area. Say that you make creative gifts, or you make you're a photographer around probate season for fraternities and sororities, or around graduation season or prom season. Start saying, hey, I do this on the side. If you're interested in having, you know, creative gifts, or if you're interested in having your photos done, please let me know. And just kind of make it seasonal and see what you can do. If you feel like you really can build momentum and build your client roster, especially if you're in a service-based business, then go ahead and make that transition when you feel like it's doable for you. And also, if you can save a little bit, save a little bit. Like, there's nothing wrong with saving. I was, again, mid-20s. I was like, I'm out. I'll figure it out. And so I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend it. It worked out, but I wouldn't recommend it. The last thing that you can do is that you can create your own profile on freelance marketplaces like Fiverr and Upwork, or even some marketplaces that are niche to your industry. And so what Fiverr and Upwork do, although they're not necessarily the premium prices all the time, they can get you some clients and kind of get you into the ebb and flow of creating a pitch or creating an an offer or those type of things, you know, used to getting paid as a freelancer, and you can kind of start dabbling in starting your LLC, like I said, getting your EIN and all these different things without the hassle of trying to do everything yourself. If Fiverr and Upwork were around when I started my business, I probably would have made a profile. I remember making profiles on random sites, and so there's nothing wrong with doing that. Or like an Angie, I think it was called Angie's List back in the day. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing stuff like that, just so you can get some clientele and also to get some of those early testimonials that you're definitely gonna need when you start your business. All right, y'all, I hope that video helped you. Continue to watch the rest of the career series. I really hope that it helps y'all, because we don't talk about this transition enough. So we're gonna keep talking about it. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and remember to always speak life. Peace.